welcome back to Seattle.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yeah, last time you were here was back in 2007.
I know. It's like all the other times, if anybody here wanted to see me, they had to go up north of the border and see me in Vancouver. But finally, I get to play in Seattle. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's beautiful right now. This is like the perfect time of year, I think, to come to Seattle.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on the upcoming release of the Thoughts Become Things 2. Yes, that came out recently.
Yeah, actually, it'll be released next week,
right.
and the buzz is really good. So and it's a project that I just love doing because it's more my creative side. The Markus Shulz albums, I work with vocalists and stuff like that. But on the Thoughts Become Things, the Dakota stuff, it's just kind of like you get in the studio and just kind of thrash it for a while. And I was in a bad mood when I was recording this album most of the time, so all the tracks are a little bit more aggressive. Oh. But it turned out really cool. Everybody's really been talking about it.
So in the second album, how do you think you changed or grew as an artist since the release?
Well, you know what? From the release of the first one, I think this is more, rather than like changing or anything, this was more like continuing the story of the first album. Because that's, to be honest with you, it's like I still play a lot of the tracks from the first album in my sets, and so that chapter I never really closed. So this was more of a continuation. But that being said, I think that these tracks are, there's a lot more aggressive tracks on these albums, on this album. Also, there's probably tracks that maybe, like, there's this one track on there, I'm Where It Went Wrong, where it's definitely a lot more techy and like no melodies, but it just feels really warm and it fits my sets really nice. So I think more or less it's a continuation of the first chapter.
This year you sold out 3 nights at Space during the Miami Music Week. You've also had a residency in Las Vegas and then have played at Electric Zoo and EDC. From your experience at playing at all these major events in the U.S., how do you see the state of dance music in America?
Well, first of all, it's very young right now, but that's cool because it's a whole new generation. I think this year, especially, I've really seen this new generation of kids coming up, and they have so much energy, and it's just so refreshing because, it's like, I pride myself on the fact that I used to go and see the old school legends when I used to play, when I was a clubber. I would sneak in and go see Danny Tenaglia or just hear these old school legends. But it's like now these kids are coming and they're I'm their old school legend. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the new generation that's coming up right now is really adding a lot of excitement to the scene. And you know what? I see it more here in the United States than anywhere else. So I think it's a really good thing. And I'm really excited and proud of the state of dance music in the United States right now.
There seemed to be a noticeable explosion in house music. Do you feel the same type of energy carries over trance and other genres of EDM?
Well, house music, trance music, your traditional trance music, the way it was, early millennium, maybe is dead. It's lacking something for sure. But trance music, the new style of trance music, is huge, and it's really catching fire right now. It's like the slower grooves, the techier influences with the more edgier riffs, as opposed to the floaty stuff that sounds like power ballads. I think a lot of people listen. It's great to listen to, maybe on the radio and stuff, but I just find that when I'm playing places like Space and Avalon in LA and Pasha, and then overseas and down in Brazil, when I play at these places like that, you can just tell they just don't want to hear these power ballads, these trance power ballads. They really get into their grooves, and it's that's really, to me, it's exciting, really exciting, because at the end of the day, it's people want to dance, and not just stand around and exciting the state of trance music right now for me.
Well, a number of Dutch DJs in the past have put on a huge events, let's say Ferry Corson and Armin Van Lee events. Um, as one of the marquee DJs, do you see yourself creating like a Cold Harbor night, or perhaps something like, you know, the best of both worlds with 2 DJs, or bringing in a handful of DJs?
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be something like that in the future, but I dedicated this year to kind of going back to the clubs. You know, that's why I took on the residency at Space, and I'm doing a lot more shows at Avalon and Marquee. You know, because I really dedicated this year to getting back to the clubs, because I just wanted to kind of reinvent the sound a little bit. So that'll definitely be in the future, but I think I want to build up to that. You know, I think when it's time, and maybe when it's time, we'll do like a Dakota, big massive Dakota concert or something. That might be cool.
Well, you know, with regards to Cold Harbor, are there any big surprise for Cold Harbor Days later this month?
Well, yeah, we've got all of my favorite Cold Harbor artists that have been contributing to the label all year, going to be highlighting them on Cold Harbor Day. And for us, it's really just kind of a way to kind of spotlight a lot of these guys, because it's time that, you know, the world gets to see who these artists are. And I mean, I try and highlight them on my radio show, Global DJ Broadcast. But on Cold Harbor Day, we all get together and celebrate you know, all of these great artists that have been contributing to my DJ sets all year long.
You've written a blog about the remix that you did for Sleepwalkers. You've collaborated with
Melly.
Yes, yes.
The controversial one, yeah.
Yes, the controversial. Now, not every day, not every day someone gets a chance to collaborate with, you know, artists that, you know, they look up to as, you know, as a child. What was that experience like for you?
You know what? Somebody asked me in an interview a couple weeks ago, what's the best experience you've ever had in the studio? And that was it. To me, to be in the studio with Melly Mel and Scorpio, and then one of the guys from the Sugar Hill Gang walked into the studio as well, I was just sitting there like, oh my God, I can't believe this. You know, it's like, I just shook my head. It was the most surreal moment for me ever in my production career. And I will do it again. And if I ever get a chance to collaborate with Dougie Fresh or Rob Bass, I'm gonna do it too. And the fans are gonna get mad at me, and you know what? I don't care, because, you know, I'm not deserting them, but these guys were like, I used to break dance to these guys' music back in the day, and it is nothing more awesome than hanging out in the studio with them. As a matter of fact, I was in New York last week, and Mel came into the city, and we went out to lunch down in the Lower East Side. And we were walking along at the Lower East Side, and he was like, you know, he had his hat on, he had a tie, he had his, you know, the watch, the earring. I mean, he was just pimped out. And it's like everybody there knew him. It's like he's he's old school king of New York. And to just walk down the street in New York with Melly Mel, and people stopping him, asking for pictures and autographs, was like, you know, this is my hero, you know. So I had a great time doing it. Now I'm going to do it again if I ever get the opportunity. And fans are just going to have to be like, deal with it.
That's really cool. I know that you have a very busy schedule. Yet, you know, last year you released Do You Dream, and then now Thoughts Become Things. Knowing many of the tracks are named after cities or venues, you think that your travel have enhanced your creativity?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, you know, when I first started off, my inspiration came from my experiences in life, and the thing is, you know, I had a real hard childhood growing up, so getting a lot of my music was very, you know, heavy. But now it's like I got all that off my shoulders, and I'm traveling the world, seeing so many amazing things, and it inspires me. So there's a lot, you know, everything that goes into my music now is inspired by something that happens to me out on the road. So it's really kind of cool, because, you know, I get to see places that I never thought I'd be able to see, and to kind of put that into my music is really cool.
So what's your idea of a great vacation?
A great vacation in my backyard, in my swimming pool, and telling everybody that I'm somewhere else.
Right.
I always said, you know, if I'm going to take a vacation, I'm going to tell everybody I'm going to go to like the Bahamas or somewhere else, and then turn off my phone. But I'm really right at home in my backyard, floating in my pool. That's
Nice.
to me, that's like the ultimate vacation.
Nice. I know that I heard that you collect old vinyl records. Do you still?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't go out and find them anymore, but I used to own a record store, and when the store closed, I kept the entire inventory. I didn't sell any of it off. Plus, I've been DJing forever, so I have a storage place with tons and tons of vinyl. I mean, it must be well over 100,000 vinyl there. And one day, you know, when I have a few months.
Would you ever do like a vinyls only?
You know,
Kind of go back to the old school.
yeah, but I love discovering new artists and kind of being hands-on in the production, you know. That being said, the vinyl could come out at any time during an after party or something like that. And to me, that would be cool, you know, do an after party with a nice sound system and then some turntables to bring out that warmth. You know, I was at an after party like that before, and it was just really great sounding tones coming through the speakers. But, as far as, you know, doing a night somewhere, I'd rather go to a night like that than have somebody than me do it. You know, I'd rather watch somebody else do it and just be part of the audience.
On a personal note, I know this past few months have been, hard and trying times for you and your family, with your little brother who was accident recently. How is he doing?
He's home now. He's still rehabbing, but he's home, and he's excited. You know, he's been texting me, and he even sent me a picture today because he had to when they had his operation. There were spots up in his head that they didn't cut his hair, so he had like these patches of hair sticking up, and I kept telling him, you have to cut your hair, it just looks crazy. And he said that he's not able to until the stitches come out, and today he sent me a picture and he finally cut his hair, so we're having, you know, he's good, he's recovering, and it was a very difficult time, but you know what, the fans were absolutely supportive. I mean, I remember going to clubs and going to places, and people were holding up signs saying "Get well soon, Holger" and things like that. And you know, I would message him all the time and tell him, you know, that everybody's thinking of him, and it really it got him through. And so I'm really grateful for all the fans for their support. It was really heavy for me, but you know,
You managed to stay above the water, so to speak. How do you keep yourself sane, you know, with your busy schedule touring and,
yeah,
you know, among other things, what's going on lately?
You just got to do it. You know what I mean? You just take it one day at a time. You wake up and you just tackle that day. You don't try and think about tomorrow or anything. You just tackle that day, and it was very difficult. But I think we're starting to, you know, things are starting to get back to normal, and I'm feeling quite happy about that.
Well, I wish for a speedy recovery. Your brother.
Yeah, we're actually trying to make plans. He wants to come to Ibiza now,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's a little soon, but I'm just happy that he's, you know, restless and wants to come out and see me again. So.
Well, thank you so much for
Well, thank you
sitting
guys.
with us.
Yeah.
It was great. So.